I follow a lot of off-grid and self-sustaining groups on Facebook, and there are tens of thousands of people in them. The overwhelming thread I've noticed is that the biggest question that comes up is, how do I quit my day job? How do I make money from my farm? How do I work online so that I could get out of the rat race? As somebody who has been off-grid for 2.5 years now, I am begging you, do not quit your day job. Please do not do that. Think, learn, listen. So when you are taking advice from anybody, and me included, if I am not doing exactly what you want to do, what you want to achieve in your life, if I have not achieved what you wish to achieve in your life, don't listen to me. Go and listen to somebody else who has done that. Let's take marriage advice as an example. I'm not going to take marriage advice from my friends who have been single their whole lives. I'm going to take marriage advice from my friends who have been married for 30 to 40 to 50 years. If I need financial advice, I'm not going to take advice from my friends who are broke and cannot, string 2 cents together. I'm going to take advice from my business community who are wildly successful. And so in the interest of complete transparency, I am not an authorized financial services provider. I'm going to just teach you my experience based on what I have learned over the years. I am a business owner. I have been running my own IT business for the last 14 years. I have had massive amounts of wealth. I've had massive amounts of debt. I've gotten out of all of them. I've had huge highs, huge lows. I've gone through all the milestones that a small business must have. I've won multiple awards, won or been awarded 20 awards for my career already. I've been a millionaire twice. I'm not a millionaire now, but I have a steady income. We've got savings, we've got investments, so while we are not super wealthy, we are wealthy in many ways that matter to us. And we have a financial plan in place, and we are actively managing it. Now, from what I am picking up on these groups is that this is not happening everywhere. There seems to be a very low financial maturity out in the public, and it's nobody's fault. We never taught this stuff in school. Nobody teaches you in school how to manage a check account, how to manage a credit card, how to manage money, how money actually works. Nobody teaches you that stuff. So how on earth are we supposed to know? And it's like that for a very good reason. If we were taught how money works, we wouldn't need the system that they tied us into. So it is just unfortunately that we are stuck in the slave planet system, tied to money. Everything on this planet is going to cost money. You cannot quit your job and go and live for free on your farm and think you are going to survive. You are going to lose everything. Please don't quit your day job. Don't put your family under that kind of stress. You can't also say that okay, well, one of you is just going to quit your jobs then. You can't imagine how much it costs to live and run a farm. Really, it even caught me off guard. And honestly, I was really innocent, I suppose, as I'm sure you are now. When I first started looking into this farm thing 10 years ago, I heard people say, farms are expensive. And in my head, I was going, well, that doesn't make sense. I'm planning on buying my farm cash, so therefore, once it's bought cash, everything is paid for. Then I've got my free water, my free electricity, my free house. What do I need money for? You need money because everything breaks, because you need equipment, because you need to, make stuff and beds and irrigation systems and all that type of thing. And every single thing costs money, every single thing, and if you think, oh, never mind, I'm just going to go rent on somebody else's farm, those people have to pay for all of that stuff. Somebody is paying for everything everywhere. And if it's going to be you need that day job. And I know you hate it. I know that you're trapped in it and it's mindless and they treat you like shit and you're just a number and it's a bullshit job. And I know I was there for years and years and years. I know, but you still need that job right now. Please don't quit your day jobs. Please, you are going to put yourself in so much financial trouble here. Even myself years ago, probably about, 8, 9 years ago now, doesn't matter. I was hell-bent on buying a farm even then, and I'd found this beautiful place out in Hekbert, behind Magaliesburg there. Stunning, 25 hectares in the mountains. It had 9 Impala on it and these beautiful old houses and this massive old barn. The whole wall was cracked and the whole barn was leaning sideways. The fences were all buggered, but I just saw trees and mountains and I was like, oh, take my money, take my money. Anyway, and then my cousin, my beloved, dearest cousin who died, we went out for dinner and I told him, oh, listen, I'm putting an offer in on this farm and I'm so excited. And he freaked out. Cut on my head from a dizzy height and said to me, Veronique, what the fuck are you doing? You cannot afford that farm. And I was so angry. I'm like, yes, I can. And he's like, no, you can't. What's your plan here? Because now you're going to commute to Joburg every single day from Hekpoort, and then leave the farm completely unattended. And then you're going to be driving literally 4 to 5 hours every single day into the city to go and do your day job. He said, he says to me, have you got cash? No. He said, okay, that fence is going to probably cost you 400,000 Rand. How are you going to pay for that? I don't know. He said, okay, and that barn that you love so much, that the whole thing is leaning over, it's a bit of a 4-meter long wall. How much do you think it's going to cost you to replace that entire wall, or to replace that barn, or to repair it? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, you can't afford it. You can't afford it. You're not ready. And he said to me then, he said, you know what, instead of trying to rush this now, stay in Joburg. Go and make your money. Go and work like a dog for the next 5 years. Save as much money as you possibly can. Invest it or whatever. Do whatever you have to. If you have to then sell your business at the end of that, fine. But build up massive amounts of wealth and then move to your farm. It was hugely beneficial advice to me. I sulked for a long time after that. I was so angry at him. You don't believe in me and I can do this and I can't believe you're not on my side. You've always wanted a farm too and blah, 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 blah. But he was right. And he said to me, if you move to that farm and you half-ass it like you think you're doing now, you're going to wake up one day with no company and no farm. And he was right. Because by then, at that stage, I had a whole bunch of people working for me and I had positioned one of the girls to take over my job. So my strategy was that she was going to run Let's Collaborate and I was going to run the farm and, I would just consult back to my company and blah, blah. She wasn't nearly ready for that. And he was right. I would have lost everything. I don't even know where I would have been now if it wasn't for that conversation, And so I'm telling you the same thing now. If you do not have a proper financial plan in place and you think you're just going to up and move out of the city to the farm, this is going to end very badly for you. Be smart about it. So first of all, go and have a look at what your current financial situation is. Are you in debt? And if you are in debt, how much debt? And can you get out of that debt? Because you are never going to be able to get away from your corporate job if you are drowning in debt. They're golden handcuffs. And the corporates know it. They know that you're drowning in bonds and car payments and credit card payments and clothing payments. They know that. So then they treat you like complete shit because they know you need that job. You need them more than they need you. You're just a number. You walk out that door, they replace you the very next day. The very next day. You don't matter in giant corporate world. None of us did. Or do. None of us. So then you need to put a new financial plan in place. And if you don't know how to manage money, learn. I didn't know how to manage money when I started my own business at all. It took me years to learn it, years. But now, 14 years later, I can with ease manage a multi-million rand budget. I can manage multiple bank accounts, money for multiple people, But it's taken me a long time to learn that. So the first thing you need to do is get out of debt. That is your number one game here. If you ever want to leave your corporate job, you can't have debt. So now, you need to take the smaller amounts, they say, it's those they people, pay off the smaller amounts, then take the money that you used to pay that small account, put it into the next one, pay off the next biggest amount of debt, use the payment that you would have used for that, put it into the next biggest one, and so on and so forth. Now, this might take you years to do, years. I saw a crowd on Facebook a few years ago, and it took them 7 years to get rid of all of their debt, and they were drowning in this stuff, drowning. But her and her husband had made a conscious decision to say this is what they want to do. They want to get out of the city, they want to get out of debt, they want to get away from those jobs, so they put a plan in place, and they stuck to it. When I moved to the farm, I knew that we would need cash up front. So for about 18 months before we moved here, I started aggressively saving money. This means that I did not go out. I mean, I lived in Midrand, so you know what the city lifestyle is like. It's lunches and it's dinners and it's cocktails and it's takeaways and it's, movie nights and all these things. Your social life is amazing out in the city, and because you've got to shop on every single corner, you're popping into Woolworths, the mothership, every 3 minutes, and it's buy here, buy. For 18 months, I did nothing. I did not leave the house. I did not buy a single takeaway, no clothes, no shoes, nothing, no plants even. And for me, that's a big thing. For those of you who know me, plants is my everything. I didn't go to nurseries. I did nothing. I saved every single cent. And I had 100,000 Rand when we moved to the farm, cash. And that was an absolute godsend. It got us through the first 3 months. In actual fact, it should have been 500,000 Rand cash. That would have been better. But the 100,000 Rand certainly saved our asses over and over again. So get out of debt, start getting some savings. Then while you're doing that, you need to start thinking about what kind of business are you going to run. And first of all, if you've never run a business before, you need to learn how to run a business. Now, when I started my business, I didn't have any business management skills. I mean, I was a project administrator for most of my life. And then when I was working for the bank, I changed into the technology field, SharePoint specifically. And while I was in that job, I identified a gap in the market by attending user groups and things like that at Microsoft. And I've started to figure out that all of the things that I was struggling with, a whole bunch of other companies were struggling with too. So I just decided to bite the bullet and quit my job and go start my own consultancy in that field. But keeping in mind that back then, I had no responsibilities. I had no pets. I was not married. I had a single 1-bedroom lock-up and go flat with no bond. So, I mean, I was like a complete free agent. I could do whatever I want. I didn't ask questions, and I upped and go and I left. So I was able to then go and make it through the first 2 years that is incredibly difficult in the life cycle of any small business. And then after that, it was kind of like learning on the fly to manage money, to manage money and to manage a business. A lot of that was very much hard knocks of life. I'm sure if I had done more research and more learning back then, it wouldn't have been so brutal as what it was some years, It's not just business management. So it's business management, money management, people management, marketing, operations, IT. There's all these things that you now need to learn. And if you've never run your own business before because you've always worked for corporates, and you want on the top of that want to move to a farm, and on top of that you want to leave your job and start your own business, this is a very big ask. It's going to overwhelm you. It is going to crush you. You need to put this into phases and into stages. Yes, have a long-term goal that is what you want to do one day, but you need to know that this could take you 10 years, if not longer. So, we're so stuck in this instant gratification world that if we don't get it now and within a year or within a minute, you're not succeeding. But every single step that you take towards that goal is actually succeeding, and it takes time. It takes time. It's taken me 14 years in my company, running my own business, to be in a position to go, I will choose who my clients are. I will choose when I want to work. We close and we don't work for pretty much 3 months of the year. We basically only work 9 months of the year because we manage money very, very well. We manage our time very well. We manage our projects really, really well. And it has put us in that position now. But it has taken over a decade to get to that point, So you need to kind of start documenting what your plan is. Write it down. Your relationship with money is something that you really have to start looking at hardcore as well. This is a lifelong journey. There's something called the law of abundance and the law of attraction. You can change your entire financial situation. It doesn't matter how dire it is. It doesn't matter. You can pull yourself out of that drowning debt, and you can completely prosper after that. At one stage in my business, probably about, 8 years ago or so now, during Zoomification, I call it the Zoomification years, when Zoomer crashed the economy, I lost all of my clients in the process because they lost all of their business. and I got dropped into 720,000 rands worth of debt in my business. I begged and borrowed and money from every single person who would or could lend me money to keep my company afloat. And then I started paying it back. When the tide started turning again, I paid back every single cent. It took me 2.5 years to pay back that 720,000 rand. And I had a billionaire friend at the time, and he said to me, I'm crazy. He said if it was him, he would have liquidated his business, closed it, and declared insolvency, and he would have just started again. But I didn't want to do that. You know, I don't play on that kind of like playing field where the billionaires kind of play. And my pride was kind of at stake, you know, and I wanted to do it, and I wanted to do the right thing by me and by all the people that had loaned me the money. So I paid it back, you know, and then since then, my business has done nothing but thrive, absolutely thrive, you know. So it takes years to get to that point. But it changed for me because I started to understand how the law of attraction works with money. And I started to change my mindset about what is my relationship with money, you know. So, you know, you grow up with this thing that says, money doesn't grow on trees. I'm sure you've all heard that saying from your parents if you are my sort of age group. So it creates this lack mindset all the time. So now you need to think about it. How do you treat money? You know, what does your wallet look like? Are all the notes kind of squashed in there and they're all crumpled up and they're dirty and torn or whatever? Or are they all neatly in there? And so do you respect money? You know, do you respect yourself and do you respect money? And money is energy. It's an energetic exchange for stuff. You know, so you need to, it's that whole thing about what you put out, you get back in type of thing. But healing your relationship with money will also go a very long way when you move to farmland here to make yourself prosperous and abundance. You know, there is no reason that we need to even hoard money or anything like that. You know, if you truly embrace the law of attraction, you will start to understand that money, because it's energy and it flows and it breathes and it flows in and out like this, and it will always come back. You know, sometimes it's full, sometimes you're empty, and it's similar to like a car. So there was an analogy that I heard once long ago, and I can't remember who said it. And they said, okay, you're driving your car and the car is empty. There's no petrol in it. So now when you get to the petrol station, do you stop there and you start freaking out and you cry, my car is empty, I'm gonna die, I'm never gonna make it, so what am I gonna do? My life is over and I'm gonna die. Do you carry on like that? No. Go to the petrol station, you get somebody to put some lemon petrol in, you pay the man and off you go. You fill up your car and off you go. Money is the same thing, but we don't do that with money. When we've got no money in our accounts, we do exactly that. We freak out and cry and stress and go berserk, where actually money breathes, and it's in and it's out, and it's in and it's out. And now your levels of how much is in and how much is out is going to change depending on where your point of attraction is in your life. So if you're an extremely negative person and you are always focusing on the negative part of life, your bank balance is going to reflect that, you know, and it takes a long time to change that record in your head. So this is something else that you can work on then before you move to the farm. Start listening to what you are saying. You know, abundance is the law of the universe. I tap into this great abundance. Abundance is the law of the universe, and abundance is everywhere you look. And that comes from John Kehoe. He's got a Law of Abundance CD. Sorry, there's something in my eye now. So when you change that record in your head, you will start to attract more money into your life and more opportunities. So you kind of position yourself for future success. But that, because it takes years, because you've had years of bad thought processes, you need to then take the time and give it time to give yourself new processes, new thought processes that will set you up for abundance. Another thing that I hear people often saying is, oh, they'll just start an online business. Oh, is it? Okay, so how much do you know about technology? How tech savvy are you exactly? Because trust me when I tell you, the volume of tools that are available out there to have any kind of online business is eye-wateringly crazy. And there are thousands and thousands of tools out there, platforms and whatnot, to run an online business. What are you going to sell? What are you going to sell online? Okay, so let's let's just take an example. Let's say you want to sell products. Okay, fine. Let's say you want to sell, I don't know, cow's milk. All right, so now, apart from the back end side of it, which is managing your stock and getting the stock and packaging it and all that kind of a thing. So, I mean, that can be a completely separate subject. But now, just from the sales perspective of this thing, if you want an online store, you need to have an e-commerce engine behind that online store. And behind that, you need a merchant account. And to set up those three things is not an easy thing. It takes significant flippant IT skills to set up those three layers of your online store. It is actually easier just to pay somebody to do it. I tried for years and then I just outsourced it. It just wasn't worth my sanity anymore. But that still costs money. It cost me quite a lot of money, actually. You can't just click a button and then think you're going to have an online store and then think it's going to be massively successful. So let's say, for argument's sake now, that you get your merchant account set up, you've got your e-commerce account set up, you've got your e-commerce engine set up, you've got your front end, your website set up. Great. Who are you going to sell to now? If you don't have any social media presence and you've been social media averse for a long time, where's your audience here? So your number one rule is if you don't have a client base, don't try and sell it. Because who are you going to sell to? There's no point in you going to make 47, milk cartons if there's nobody, buying milk cartons, if there's no market for those kinds of things. So now you got to go do market research, I would think generally anything that would be food related would be a good money spinner. I'm sure everybody buys food, everybody needs food. It's a thing that everybody's going to want sooner or later. So you can't really lose with that. I'm not talking about commercial level anything here. I'm talking about families, homesteaders, type of people moving out of the city onto farms to take care of themselves and their families. I'm not talking at all on any kind of commercial level that is servicing thousands of people and planting, the monoculture type things that are getting sold to the Pick and Pays and Checkers of the world. That's not who I'm talking about here. I'm talking about you and me as day jobbers, sort of just the man on the street kind of person. Okay, so now you've got to figure out now who you're going to sell to. And then, in comes the AI world. And everybody's like, oh, AI is going to be the answer. And I remember when I started in the AI world at the beginning of the year, I was just like gobsmacked. I'm like, this is it. This is my answer. This is it. This is going to change everything. And I spent the next 8 months deep diving into AI, and it was soul destroying. Because every single video that you open is how to make 10 million bucks using AI in a week. And if you don't do it, you're an idiot, and blah, 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 blah. It's still complicated. I still came up with different products that I wanted to have apps to make online apps that I wanted. And the development cost for that was still 100,000 Rand. So then I had to really think about the fact, do I want to invest 100,000 Rand in that app? So first of all, I didn't do any market research for it. I just assumed it would be a cool idea. And then, because I sat on it for so long, literally 3 months after I came up with that idea, I saw like four people on Facebook doing exactly the same thing. And then I was really mad at myself, actually, because I should have invested in what my instinct was. But now, I've come to that point now to go, well, does it really make sense to try and compete with them? It would make far more sense to go and collaborate with them and go and help them, because it's a cause that I believe in. But my point here is that it's going to cost money. Everything that you want to do online is going to cost money in one way or another, either physical cash for the software that you're going to need, or courses, although you can do a lot of stuff from YouTube. Just about everything is on free on YouTube. So there's no real excuse here. You could learn the technology and everything that you need to do from YouTube. And then marketing the thing, if you're just going to be using like the Facebooks or the social media platforms of the world, maybe you need Google AdWords. Then you got to go learn Facebook AdWords. Or you can do it from Google and then do Google AdWords. But both of those models are extremely complicated as well, And if you're not tech savvy, they are very overwhelming. And then you might have to outsource it to somebody, and then again, it's going to cost you money. So it's always going to be the money thing, the money thing, the money thing. But more importantly here is that you need the skills. You need business skills, you need a client base, and you need the technology to support that. So if you do want to start your own business one day, start putting these steps in, like I said. Start getting out of debt, start saving money, start building up your skills to run your own business, start learning the technology. And then, over time, then you will be able to let go of those day jobs and hopefully then sustain yourself on the farm level. So yeah, I'm not trying to be negative here at all. Everything that you want to do is doable. There is nothing going to stop you except you. Just be smart about it. Don't put yourself under so much stress that you lose your dream that you've waited so many years to get to, you know. Be kind to yourselves and make sure that you and your partner are on the same page when it comes to money. Because if you're not on the same page now and then you move to the farm, don't think that's going to be magically going to be coming right. Because there's so many things that can and do go wrong. And, you know, where does the priorities in? What do you spend your money on? When? Why? How much can each other spend without telling the other one? You know, do you have one bank account? Have you got two? You know, and financial management with couples is very seldom spoken about, you know. Very, very seldom. And if you don't talk about that stuff, it's going to come back and bite you, you know. So just be careful of that. And I think that's all I'm going to say about that today. Technology is going to take a lot of your time. And I know that you're tired already from your day job, you know, so it just might not be in the cards for you right now. And that's okay, because you can just learn skills in the meantime, you know. Come up with ideas, talk to people, see where the gaps in the market are, you know, and then kind of take it from there. Good luck. You got this, you can do it, but be smart about it.